You're live.
Are we live?
You're live. We're live.
All right.
Hi, everyone. I'm Denise Sheehan of Sage Spirit Coaching and Reiki and Sky Spirit Shamans.
And I'm Dilak Patongi from Mountain Eagle School.
Mm-hmm. And Sky Spirit Shamans.
And Sky Spirit Shamans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we're here to share a little bit on our thoughts about new paradigm, a new era that we're beginning, and how we're making a choice to consciously embody that new paradigm and walk into that.
I like the way you say things. We introduced ourselves, which I think is what important here in the beginning of this new paradigm, in this new life, in this new beginning, is the foundation in which we're all creating this new life. We all know that there's so many things in our experience that entails the old paradigm that we didn't like and didn't want, but didn't have a choice. But now that we're in the new paradigm, in the new beginning, that we as the likeness of Creator, we have the ability to create our new way of life, way of living. Now, in order for us to do this, we have to eliminate ourselves from those things that we don't want, those things that don't do us any good, and allow ourselves to receive the messages and allow ourselves to know our skills and our experiences, what that has to offer. And in this new paradigm, which for 7 generations waiting for this time to return back to Earth. And now that we've returned back to Earth to do this job, and we've endured the time that we had through the old paradigm to be prepared for this new paradigm as new paradigm ancestors, we now look at ourselves as what do we build our base from? For me, my base comes from my elders. My foundation comes from all of the elders of the Hung Lao Ti, Pawalu, and the Tung Lao Ti. The Well Mel Ti, we got some information there, but I'm speaking about the 3 that had to go through war. And so we lost a lot of people there and a lot of information, but we had entailed all this information up to now that the northern Washos that had survived the war, now we are able to return that information back to the whole landscape of Washishiwite, Washo territory. So for me to be able to do these things that my ancestors wanted me to do and my elders told me to do, and to return it back to the original foundation or the place that we were before we had war, before we had all these things, is to go back to the oral history of which I've been given from all of the families, from the elders, from all your grandfathers and grandmothers, great-grandfathers, great-grandmothers. And I, at one point, was wondering where the other 12 individual Washos were going to come from in the new paradigm, because as a new paradigmist, I am one of those individuals that was returning. So I'm waiting for the others, and I look around and they're still not here. But when we did this document called the Declaration of Sacred Estates held in the land to allow the Washoe people to return back to a responsible part on this land again as Holocaust survivors, we're now partners with America. And we did this through the documentation through my elders, in which I didn't realize at the time were the original 12 returnees to allow the new paradigm to be created through the documents that we provided this country, the Department of Defense, Department of Justice, Secretary of Interior, the United Nations, the Bar Associations, the President of the United States, the Washoe Tribe. We've let them know, notified them all way ahead of time. And so now, where we are now, the younger generation just has to realize it's up to us to create what it was, the foundation of our oral history. had given us, what it had given the responsibility for us to do. Some people aren't as responsible to carry out the work. Others are responsible here to carry out their families' practices so that we become a communal people again, because we all work together and we all have something to participate and to get along. But the foundation of this, bringing back what our inherent responsibilities are, is the way of life that our old people had lived by. How the people before us in any part of the world, in every continent, is we had practices and we had a simple foundation of tobacco ceremony and round dance songs, holding hands, singing songs to spirit, talking spirits, taking care of the earth, taking care of the water and the air. We all had this. So in order for us to return back as the new paradigm, as ancestors of the new paradigm, we, myself and Denise and other nations that have now reside here in America together, now it's up to us to really provide a realization of where you can get information that is pertinent to the new paradigm, and where it is that you can, as we create and develop what it is that we're developing, we always got to be mindful that as we listen to the spirit, other spirits will communicate with others so that we'll all be in one orderly fashion of spiritual organization, telepathic spiritual organization. We aren't all good at it yet, but we are conscious of it. So as Sky Spirit Shamans and Mountain Eagle School and others start to formulate through these dream catchers, even, the 144 throughout the world, we're all going to be able to share the experiences that we experienced in our life and through oral history, which we're supposed to pass on. And we'll be able to share this with other nations throughout the globe. But here within this continent, in different parts of this land, by everybody able to share that information together, now to be a telepathic internet. And through all the information the Creator's given us, we'll be able to receive. And there's no cyber penetration there. The computers and the manipulation of what that offers also, besides something good, it also offers the ability to do not good. So as new paradigms, we have to think about the best possible avenue for the most pure direction that the new paradigm can take in order for the new generations to receive, to experience, and then to move that forward. So myself, this information that I've held on for years, I've now been able to actually give it some roots. And so through the Mountain Eagle School Training Center, I call it the School of Huckades. It's not about being quiet, it's being mindful of what you're saying, what you're talking about. And so that's why I want to do this interview with us, so we can continue what we're doing, but we can start to come together for that reason, that we have to have an example of something that is happening in this world today that is functioning in a system that's dysfunctional. But as we develop our skills and our teaching and as well as our learning, we'll be able to adjust to whatever it is we need to adjust to, so we can turn our world from upside down to right side up, as we're doing. And so by giving people this information, by providing the information you provide people, it is a really powerful tool. But also with the school being available now in this way also, is to get people going from back one step to going back even further, so that you actually can speak to the spirit yourself, going on the property, speaking to spirit yourself, going out and living on the land, speaking to spirits yourself, singing your songs, going to ceremonies at this piece of property, because you are a respectful, an honorable and integral spiritual being human on earth. But you have to show that And you have to demonstrate that, and you have to be who you say you are. And this is where my whole life I've always had a dysfunction in my life, because I've always been told it's never going to happen, that you'll never be Indian, that Indian way is never going to happen, or people are never going to come through. We're white now, and that's all there is to it. From all those that had told me that, I'm here. I told you I would make it. And so now that I'm here, this is what my old people told me to say to you. Since you won't listen, I'll show you. And this is one of the steps that is going to take us from this place we're at today to a very enriching and abundant lifestyle. Somebody has to do the work. Somebody has to hold ground, and somebody has to hold the position. So here we are. So anyway, I wanted to do that because I just wanted the younger generation to know it's time for the younger generation that didn't get this information. It's time for you to contact, time for you to step up and be the adult that you're becoming, and talk to me. I like to have some talking circles with some young men, even with some men if they want to tell the truth. Sit down in a place where we're all neutral and get down to some specifics. But with the younger generation, younger men, I like to find out where you're at, because if we can work together, it can help you with your rites of passage. It can help you with the struggles that you're having with wondering what it is and where you're going in this life. Our responsibility, no matter what we're doing, is a man's responsibility is to protect the women and to provide for the family, as well as taking care of the earth and listening to it and doing your part, whatever that is. Nobody can tell you what that is. Everybody's born with your own Bible. So this is my message. As I haven't been this person my whole life, people really not knowing what I was doing, where I was going, but I was disguised so I can get here. My old people said, do whatever you have to do, but get there and take this message with you. Take this information with you. So I said, okay, for 47 years, I've been holding on information, and people have been trying to steal it, trying to lie to me and trying to take it, trying to tell me it's not mine, and trying to belittle me, even trying to eliminate me from the whole equation. But we were ready. Lots of good people help, lots of good things, spirits, and lots of being human, lots of good people. So why are we allowing ourselves to live in a world we always talk about the negative? Why we listen to the negative? Why is it always put down into us? Because they don't want us to know there's something good, which is this. We have ability to create a new paradigm with our creator likeness skills to become as pure as possible in the formula of the next generation that's coming up, which is knowing how to make fire, knowing how to place a stick in a fire, what kind of sticks, not green sticks, not dry, the whole description of it all. But as you start living on the land again, you're able to feel a comfortable and a freedom inside yourself that your heart is able to relax. Now, when you go in these cities and you live the way that the city life is, you don't have such a hard time, because you know that the life that you really know exists does exist. And you can go there. You want to learn songs, we teach you songs. You want to learn tobacco ceremony, we teach you tobacco ceremony. Teach you how to listen to spirit, we teach you how to listen to spirit. So the bottom line is we're here to create something good. So I took up all the time, most of the time, but I want to hear what you can say.
For me, the new paradigm is about peace and interconnectedness. And in that, like, all the races come together and work together. I see a lot of division, and we've seen a resurgence of racism and awareness of racism that I think is really helpful in helping us do deeper healing. And I feel like it's time for us to focus together on being more respectful of life on the planet. So there's so much going on now with with things that are happening to the planet and our biodiversity on the planet, where we as humans have not been mindful of what's necessary in order to keep the balance of life on this planet and to keep the planet healthy so that it can sustain life for not just humans, but for all of life and creation. And so when I think about like people coming together and working together and finding creative solutions that are long-term solutions, not just short-term gratification. And I think about, like, you know, our message has always been to empower people as their own healers and to connect with spirit on their own through the tools and the wisdom that we have to share, that we've been blessed to be gifted with. And like when we work together, there's a whole non-physical world that's here, as well as Earth and all of our relatives in terms of animals, plants, and crystals, all of that. There's a whole like world of spirit that's here. And as we connect more with that, the way Delok was talking about, like we all hear the voice of spirit, and then we bring those voices forward. And when we know that that comes from the spirit of creation, then we know that we're carrying the truth. And as we all connect into that, then it becomes easier to create from a holistic, from a respectful perspective, with this next 7 generations in mind. And I feel like this is really important time where if we're not mindful of how we go forward, then there's a lot to lose. And part of that loss may be humanity itself, which we've consumed so much. It's time for us to give back. And however we're meant to do that, each of us carries the seed of potential within us. We carry our own creator voice within us, and we're here for a special purpose. And I would love nothing more than to feel all the people of all the ages, all the nations, and come into that empowerment where we carry and express that seed of creation that's within us, where we live and align with our soul purpose, where our unique gifts are expressed in the world in a way in which we create more healing for all of life.
And I like the part about celebrating. If everybody starts to just do a little more celebrate and have a place to go to do that, where there's no drinking, no drugs, you know, where people can't just cause trouble without, you know, being dealt with. That way, the community and the family and the relations can be protected and provided for properly. So you know, it's really important for us all to just to learn to be family again, learn to be, you know, trust each other, learn to, you know, tell each other the things we need to hear, you know, but also be reminded we're here to celebrate together. And as we celebrate together, that's when we bring the old people to the gathering, or bring the children to the gathering, and now people can do things together. So this is the part of the new paradigm that the old paradigm doesn't see as a very important mechanism to the development of the design community that we're leading towards. But you first have to get the community together, get the people in the community that are vital to that structural design.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, let's just learn to celebrate together, have round dances in different places. And at least at these dream catchers, we got one here in Reno at your place, and we have one in my place. So at those 2 locations, now we can have round dances, we can have presentations, we can have talks, we can even have plays, you know, like theater type plays, so that people can come and learn to see what these things are and allow the spirits and the earth be connected, you know. So, you know, to me, what you just said is really vital to what I say, because what I say, I'm always seem like I'm talking by myself, you know, but what you say is exactly what I believe too. You know, we have to reach a point where we're all here together. So there's a formula in which we all need to be reminded we're leading. And eventually, some people that don't want to be part of the collective, they have their ability to be in their own little family group, in their own protected space, but protected by the rest of us. Not protected by yourself. They can eat you up by yourself. They can divide you. But as a family, they can't divide us. So, however we return that back to that design approach for family, we just stick together and we know who is good and we know who doesn't want to be good. So we allow them to be who they want to be. But we want to be good. I only want to have good things around me. So, as well as anybody that's in my company.
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of it is really looking out for one another. We have so many people in our communities who are marginalized or disrespected or not receiving the opportunities to succeed and to belong. And I feel like it's such an important part of the new paradigm to respect everyone as belonging, as being worthy of respect and opportunity.
Yeah. Well, the younger generations of my people too, the Washishu, as well as the Paiute Shoshone, we need to learn to find that place where we all can be together. So as I created this place at home for my Washishu, not really understood what I was doing when I was doing it, but as I'm at today, I provided a place for you to learn the skills you need to learn in order to return back to become your ancestors, become your grandfathers and grandmothers, to receive the some of them have given me to give to you. And your parents won't receive it, so I'll give it to you. And if you won't receive it, well, when you have kids, send them over and I'll try to make sure they get it. But somewhere along the way, every family, Washoe family, had a foundation of information that gave them connection to their responsibility here in this territory, which by receiving and knowing that information, they can never separate you from your land base. Perpetual succession continues. So as we return back to our individual perpetual succession, now we have the inherent responsibility to the Washishus, inherent responsibility to the land, animal, air, and water and plant here on this earth, Lake Tahoe area. So lawyers and Americans that think this land is a freelance land, it's not. It's somebody's home. And they're speaking to us now and saying, get a better management system. Because eating us up and devouring us is not the way. You need to learn to put things back. You need to learn to put things back to where they were, not invasive species and all these things that are intrusive through the natural order and the natural law. Mm-hmm. It's really important that we follow a strict order of things, and that's what our elders were. That's why the younger generation, my parents' age and them, wouldn't listen because the old people were too strict. But there's a reason why they were strict. We don't like karma. Washoes call it taboo. We do not do taboo. That way we don't have to worry about the next life with our families. So remember that. Every day you do something you know you should be doing, remember, it's on your family. So I've done my part by getting where I have to go and where I'm at, and I'm going to give it back by providing the school, providing it to your students, providing it to those that filter through the miku that this world shoves at us.
I caught that.
So I get a blessing. We're such a great time right now. It's such a blessing time that's why I think this, even just talking this way, is important, because those that are watching this and those who watch us, tell others about something you think you know or something you think you feel, because whatever we're saying here is part of a new way of life that's coming. Mm-hmm. And it's not just here. And we're all receiving the same message from the same source, mm-hmm, all over this earth. So why I think it's important.
Agreed.
Mhm.
Thank you, Dilok.
No, thank you, Denise.
Thank you, everyone, for joining.
How long?